Hello, Michael Talbot-Kelly here, talking to you about 1 + 1 = 3 relationships. This is part 4. You haven't seen the other part 1, part 2, part 3, you might be interested. It's different than the half plus half equals 1 relationship, which is the old relationship, which is sour and saggy and just not cutting it today. And if you haven't heard, it's the 1 + 1 = 3 marriage. The true second marriage, the real marriage that everybody's after, right? So quick story, I had a guy come to me, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago now, into my office, and he had just been at the receiving end of his wife who was having an affair for a couple of years and behind his back. He came in, collapsed, obviously, right? Besotted with grief and challenge over this. Anyway, we jumped into some work together. We rolled up our sleeves. We had to reimagine his life. He had to step into this 1 + 1 relationship. So he had to get out of his halfness, right? Half-heartedness doesn't lead to majesty. He had to get into his wholeheartedness that leads, yes, to the top of Freedom Mountain. And so he stepped into a whole series of things, which I'm going to tell you about this morning. But I also want to say that I said something to him. I said, I told him this phrase. I gave him this image, this simple quote from one of my teachers. And I mean, it was after, I don't know, 3 months, he came busting into my office, practically knocked the door down, and I thought he was going to jump on top of me and start beating me up or something. I mean, I didn't know if it was a positive or a negative what was going on for him. He says, you told me this thing 3 months ago, and I'm just like, I can't believe what's going on. And I'm going, oh my God, I must have, for sure I said something that, or I gave him an assignment, or there was some strategy that he had that just collapsed or something. But no, he said, I actually thought you were crazy when you told me this. And I said, what? He said, yeah, I almost didn't come back. It was one of the first sessions. You said to me, he said, look, when you have to get back into your oneness, when you get out of your halfness and you're into your oneness, I said to him, it's like a flower blooming. When the flower blooms, the bees will come uninvited, right? When we bloom, the bees come uninvited. The bees being other women. He couldn't believe, he thought for sure, because he had a little bit of a history with women not treating him, because he was a half guy. He wasn't in his fullness, right? So when he stepped into this fullness, this wholeness, body, mind, soul, prosperity, of course the bees, the women, came uninvited. And he was just overwhelmed that week with so many people women knocking on his door, wanting to hang out, date, fool around, all sorts of things. So how does it work? So how do we do this? So the first thing you got to do in a 1 + 1 = 3 relationship is that you need to, I guess there's some bit of reputation that I have for helping people, really get into this second marriage, and they come into me and say, well, what is it? How do you do this? I say, well, there's a technology, and there's an art and a science to it, and so this is part of it, okay? So the 1 + 3 relationship is the second marriage. Now, that does not mean that you have to divorce your wife or your husband and step into a second marriage. Within the relationship, you can reimagine, every 7 years is a new chapter that needs to be deepened and stepped into and whatnot. So the 1 + 1 = 3 relationship is, and here's the simple version, right? You create a vision for your life, right? You do a vision board. Yes, I know. There was a New York Times article that came out. A comedian did a take on it, and I guess she's been playing around with this technology. But if you're doing it sincerely and seriously, and with, my teachers always said, hey, keep your vision exalted and your feet on the ground. So you do a vision for yourself of yourself, which operating at about a 9 out of 10, let's say. 10 out of 10 might be a bit too much perfection. Over here in this third of life, the 3 domains of life, right? Everybody knows this. There's three domains of life. We could make it into more break it down into even more pieces of the pie, but this is basically it, right? There's three areas. There's self, relationship, and work. And if we're talking about relationship here, and we want a 9 out of 10 relationship there, right? But we also want to have, that's the quantitative part of it, but we also want to have, like, what is the word that goes there? I want to have a very loving 9 out of 10 relationship, right? That's really what people meant, or a very intimate, or I want to really belong to that person. I really want belonging and love and intimacy and all of that. And it's the same with the self. It might be in a life 9 out of 10 that I want, and in work it needs to be very prosperous, let's say. I'm a big fan of prosperity. It's very different than just success for money's sake. Prosperity is body, mind, soul, as well as, yes, people, planet, profit. Prosperity. This is so in order to create all of that, of course, you have to mobilize your courageous self, right? Everybody knows this. And so here you are over here, this little guy, little woman that's, got a little bit of territory under your feet, not a lot. And you need to walk towards that, right? And so how do you do that? So here's you, here's the who, here's what you want, here's the what, right? Who, what, and here's how you do it. And of course, it's how do you do this? There's two ways of doing this that you need to travel, right? You need to travel with the law of creation, right? Everybody understands this. This is the basically doing, right? We all know how to do. We're in a culture of doers, right? But there's also the law of attraction, being an attractor, right? Everybody's talking about that. That's just being you now, being all of this now, because what would all that give you, right? All that would give you would be peace or joy or abundance or that feeling of freedom, right? So you have to step into that now, right? So law of attraction says, well, you have to be that now as you start to look at long, medium, and short-term goals, right? Right? These are your goals. We know how to do this. This is straightforward. Everybody's talking about, well, this is how you do it. It's really simple. This is where you want to go. Okay, so how do we get there? Well, you start to create that. You start to go up onto dating apps. You start to hang around people and let people know that you're open to the right relationship and that you're wanting to really step into that this year, and you're willing to be patient, and you've got a vision of what that looks like, and in this relationship you've got a whole bunch of wonderful qualities that you want. They need to be tall, dark, and handsome. Tall, dark, and handsome. They need to be great lovers. They need to be smart with money. They need to be great. They need to be athletic. They need to be a great dancer. You get the picture, right? They need to have a lot of joy. And then you put pictures of that, of you in the 1 + 1 = 3. You get images of that, right? So 1 + 1 = 3 images that you can really wake up in the morning and say, okay, I need to step into that feeling of what would the feeling of that be? It would be a very loving feeling. I need to step into that loving feeling now as I open myself and walk towards my vision of what I want, me in my fullness, me blooming, me standing in my wholeness. And part of that is being in this fabulous relationship. Have I lost anyone yet? Of course not. Right? So you get this. So law of creation, doing shit, the get shit done mode, right? With the law of attraction, which is just being that now, being in that loving, alive, and prosperous energy now. And so how do you do that? Well, that's your self-care. That's what you do. You go to the gym, you start to meditate, you start to do yoga, you start to play music, you start to knit, you start to do all those things that allow you to bring that loving feeling. We got that loving feel. Okay, I'll probably lose most of you if I do any more of that. So, law of creation, law of attraction, you put those together. This is how you're going to travel, right? How are you going to travel? You're going to travel with this is going to end up, this equals end up being the third law, because you put these two together. 1 plus 1 equals the law of manifestation. Right? These are laws. You know this. The bees come uninvited when the flower, we're the same. You've seen people when they're really themselves in a very loving, prosperous, alive place. Everybody's drawn to them. They're very genuine. They're very authentic. They're living their own, they're authoring their own life, right? So you mobilize the law of manifestation by doing yes, but not 99% this and only 1% that. No, you got to bring this feeling up now as you, yes, yeah, steady Eddie, walk towards your vision, right? So you're walking towards this vision, but you're bringing the feeling too. So this energy goes this way. You attract the bees. Here come the bees. They come this way because you already got this feeling going on as you walk towards that same vision of what you want. There's this magic of mystery, right? So you're not just a problem to be solved. Let's just get shit done and, hang around and look cool in bars. No, and get all the plastic surgery and the lips done. And no, we're not talking about that. We're talking about really allowing yourself to walk towards this whole image of you. Loving, prosperous, alive self. As you, yes, you hold for yourself. You do your self-care to really resurrect that energy. Then you start to manifest this world. And people say, well, is that how you do it? Yeah, that's how I do it. That's how I've done it with probably, I would say 50, 60 different couples that have come to me, individual, or they were in the old marriage, need to get into the second marriage. So this is the technology. Make sense? Does it make sense? 1 and 1 makes 3 relationship. Step into, if you decide, right? We're deciders. You decide you want this. Well, then do your work. Get into your wholeness. Stop being a half person. Stop half-assing it. Stop, doing it like sort of, okay, yeah, well, I sort of want to. No. Your heart may get hurt again. Yeah, you may get broken. Your heart is made to break. And this is what you got to get. It's not like, oh, I couldn't cope with. No, you're not strong enough. Your heart has got the strongest muscle in it. It's about courageous and devotion to the task of living fully. And that includes a very loving relationship, but also a loving relationship with the butcher, baker, candlestick maker, your family, your kids, right? But you can't do it in a half-assed way. Have you noticed? So this is a little bit of the technology. You decide you want this. You mobilize your doing energies. You mobilize your being energies so that the becoming energies of you manifesting, you becoming fully expressed. How can the bees not come towards that? Hello? And it's got nothing to do with the size of your lip or the size of your calf or the color of your skin, or that's going to be some part of it, but really if you're oozing this aliveness and this whole, how do the bees have a chance? Hope that's helpful. MTK, Michael Talbot-Kelly, signing off. Bye for now.